In Greenville, North Carolina in 1947, theater owner John Warner filmed local people and traveling performers to create the motion picture, Pitch A Boogie Woogie. This is the story of the film, the people and the time that brought them together.
I met John Warner first in the early 30s. At that time, he was working down on Evans Street in a motion picture theater as a projectionist. And subsequently, he got out of that business and got into his own theater, the Plaza Theater on the Albright Street here in Greenville.
John Warner's Plaza Theater was in the center of the black section of Greenville, known as the Block. And it was from that environment that he drew inspiration for his film.
Well, the block was about 2 blocks long. It went from Alice Street to Barnum Street. That's how long it was. And they had businesses on both sides of the street at that time. And the business at that time was Grant Bell's Restaurant, the Plaza Theater, the Pythian Hall, Paradise Cave, Shiver Shoe Shop, and City Pool Room.
Everything was fine. Everything was fine. The block was jumping, as you said, and the people was out enjoying themselves.
It seems that they would come from the Red Rose Club. They would make a path through Bonner's Lane, coming from the Red Rose Club, and to Bonner's Lane from the Tropicana Club. They'd come to go to the Tropicana Club. They'd have a good time there. Then they'd make them a beeline back to the Red Rose Club, Black on the Block. So it was just going backwards and forward to see who was who and who was at the and who was where and when. And you could go to the Bell's Cafe and get a sausage sandwich for 5 cents.
Grant Bell was a marvelous person. Nobody went hungry. I mean, if you didn't have any money, you could go there and get a meal. Of course, it didn't take much money to get a meal anyway. He was known as the stew beef king. He served you stew beef and rice for 15 cents. And you could get a belly full if you want. You wouldn't leave there hungry.
Don't leave the cabbage off now.
Yeah, stew beef.
Yeah.
John Warner was very fond of ham and egg and grits and coffee, milk, orange juice. And sometimes John Warner would eat 3 meals with us a day.
Throughout the heyday of Greenville's Block, John Warner's Plaza Theater remained the centerpiece.
We didn't have any balconies in Greenville during the days of segregation. And if a black in this community wanted to go to see a movie, they had no choice but to come to the Plaza.
Well, the Plaza Theater could seat around close to 500 people. They had movies, Western movies, love stories. At that time, you had Tom Mix and Bob Steele and Hopalong Cassidy. Some of the stars come down here once in a while, and at the same time, they would have a display of museum wax figures on the platform out there, on the porch. I ride film mostly. Man would go in the sunset and just vanish. He was called a vanishing rider, you know.
And the theater would be just ram-crammed in with all the kids and the people from out in the country and everywhere. They used to come over there to see the pictures. They used to say they were riding the seats. As the cowboys would ride, they'd ride along with them on the seats.
We had features in the black movie houses that you didn't see or had in the white movie houses.
Once in a while, they had a stage, an entertainer to come there. I remember once Adelaide Hall was there once.
And during that era, and that was good too. That was during the good days. They used to have big dances in the warehouses. I remember Louis Jordan, I remember Lucky Millender, I remember Billy Eckstein.
Tiny Bradshaw, and Andy Curt and his Clouds of Joy, with Billy Lou Williams. And out of Charlotte, North Carolina, you had Jimmy Guns. You had Carolina Stompers out of Wilson. You had the Black Hawks out of Kinston. Puff Stompers out of Elizabeth City. And Sunset Royal Entertainers out of St. Petersburg, Florida.
I remember the night that Earl Hines played here. It was the Star Warehouse out on 9th Street. I was on the inside and I heard somebody fussing. And I heard somebody cussing. And somebody they shot. And when the pistol sound went off, I looked around and everybody started running. And I started running too. I didn't go to the door, I went to a window and went out a window. And I stayed out.
When the minstrel shows came to town, they didn't have access to the motels and the hotels and things, and they had to find homes for their lodging. And so we had several of them to stop here with us. Two of the main personalities that I remember was Princess White. She was one of the supreme entertainers with Silas Green Minstrel. Then after Silas Green went out, I think Winston Minstrel was the most popular minstrel then, and we had several of those to room with us.
Those towns down there were tobacco towns, and we would play around the tobacco season. Down east, we played Farmville, Wilson, Greenville. I played all those towns for a week. Greenville was a young New York town for years. See, they always say it was a young New York town because they kept, they had a theater there. And see, they would bring these different people from New York and places down there had to give vaudevilles in.
When the brown-skinned moths was in this vicinity, and we'd date them for a particular day, we would have a matinee with them, then one show at night, then we'd have a late night show. That was the X-rated part. Sometime after 10, we wouldn't allow the children to come see that. A lot of folk would be excited they'd come back. But usually you wouldn't see any more than you saw earlier, but just the thought of it was a good drawing card. Yeah.
I was a dancer and a stage manager and an assistant manager when we came there then. Irving C. Miller. He was the first one took dark girls to Broadway. They wanted to. So we always had high yellows, we call them, had high yellows. And he was the first one to took brown-skinned girl to Broadway. Irving C. Miller's wife, she would go to the costume place. She would buy one costume and tear it apart, and she would make costumes for her show. That's why her show was always dressed so.
John Warner began to see the possibility of combining live entertainment with his fascination for movie making.
He'd go up to the high school in various places, and he would have little talent shows, and he would shoot it, and he would show it from time to time.
He did films of people out in the yard, people, old guys playing checkers, and people walking along the street eating ice cream, and he did all kinds of he made all kinds of pictures of people walking up and down the block.
People not knowing when they were going to be on or anything like that, they would come, expecting to see it. It kept people coming back. They never knew what they were going to see.
John Warner came in when we first started talking about forming the corporation for the purpose of making the picture, and told me that his brother had been in New York City and worked around Broadway. John Warner's brother was named Walter William Warner, I believe, but had gone under the name of William Lord. John wanted his name to get his brother down here. He told me he was going to put his name in the corporate title. So we had the title for the corporation was Lord Warner Pictures, Inc.
To get that company off the ground, the two brothers' first production was a local 30-minute documentary.
Greenville on Parade was an attempt on the part of John to develop a picture which portrayed the various and sundry businesses in Greenville as an attempt to make some money that would enable him to keep on making pictures.
Yeah, he had great dreams to begin with. He wanted to set him up a regular production studio and use local talent, and he thought maybe that he'd be able to help somebody else and also do some real entertaining too, along with it, help some of the local people that might be talented.
All that remains of John Warner's films is a reel of outtakes and the 1947 musical comedy featurette, Pitch A Boogie Woogie, co-starring two local men, Tom Foreman and Herman Forbes.
The only reason I got close to Warner was through Tom Foreman. Tom Foreman knew about my playing. He asked me if I was interested in taking part in a movie.
Herman was always a very quiet person. Was always a musician. He could bang the piano when he was a little bitty boy.
Tom Foreman, I started, I believe, working for Mr. Warner at Plaza Theater. Tom had an infectious chuckle and dry wit about him, who was a perfectly charming person.
Tom was very talkative. He had a dynamic personality. And if you would listen to him, he could talk of wild turkey things.
I was home on summer vacation, and Tom Foreman asked me if I would be interested in doing a film, an all-black film. And at first I said no, and then after he explained to me that it was just a nice picture, you know, just fun, I told him yes. And especially after he told me I would get paid.
Because of problems with the original soundtrack, recorded by Dunn Dunning's orchestra, the rhythm vets from Greensboro, North Carolina, were hired to cut a new soundtrack.
The guy that was producing it needed some musicians that could read the score, and he didn't have any down in Greenville.
Mr. Warner from Greenville called me, and how he found out who we were, I don't know. My wife was expecting our first child. At that date, we were in Greenville playing the music for the film. That's how I am able to remember 40 years ago, because my son was 40 this past July 29th.
So we all got together and we traveled to Greenville. We sat and watched the filming of this movie, and Mr. Warner wanted us to cut the soundtrack behind it.
It was sort of like a dance in reverse. I mean by that, the music usually determines what the dance is going to be like. The dance had already been done in this case, and the music was coming to try to fit it to the dance that was being done. So it was almost like playing music by the dance instead of dancing to the music.
I think we booked for 4 hours, but after the 4 hours were up, we still hadn't completed it. So we stayed there and played and played and played, and every once in a while something would happen and we'd have to start all over again. Because some of the guys kept saying, well, I hope this will be the last time, and I kept saying to myself, I hope it won't be the last time, because I was thinking about the few dollars that I was going to get out of it.
Yeah, we got about $75 a piece, and that was big money in those days. $75 a piece. We've been used to getting maybe 10, 15, and 20 at the most for our dance job, which included travel time. So $75 a piece was worth it.
It was, I suppose, crude movie making Yeah, because the piano was terrible, you know. Many of the notes wouldn't play. But we scuffled through it somehow. Made it sound like it was a good piano.
On January 28, 1948, Pitch A Boogie Woogie made its world premiere, showing simultaneously in Warner's Plaza Theater and across town in its only show for white audiences at the State Theater.
Some skin, pal. Boy, am I glad to see you.
That goes double. When did you get back?
About an hour ago. Thought I might see you here. Say, what makes with the bandages? Another fight?
Yeah, my wife again.
Haven't you learned to handle her as yet?
Not as long as she can find a rolling pin. Boy, I wish they'll make those things out of cotton.
She sure messed you up.
Yeah, put me out of doors.
Where did you sleep?
Had nightmares on the doorstep. Say, how you make out in the big town?
Say, man, that's the place to get help.
Any new numbers?
Yeah, picked up a swell boogie.
Go in there and beat it out for me.
Okay. Say, pal, let's open up a nightclub.
A nightclub? Boy, is that an idea. We could get the old Royal Palace.
Don Dunning and the boys, Sylvester Mike and Joe Little.
And Esther May Porter, Rose Burrell, Evelyn Ward, and Dorothy Lee.
We'll have a hot spot for the big shots.
We could get plenty of talent to start with.
Yeah, man.
Nope.
What's the matter?
My wife again. She only go downtown and buy up all the rolling pins, and my head hurts bad enough as it is.
You're crazy. She'd be tickled.
You're nuts. She was no better than when you left.
She still wants the cabbage, doesn't she?
That's why she loves me.
Oh, we'll make enough money to pay her off and keep her happy.
You think so?
Know it.
Well, maybe.
Now get this layout. We have the bandstand in the back, dance floor in the center, red and white tables and chairs around the sides. And you and I'll have a ringside seat where we can watch the show. Now here's what we'll do. There's our table.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, we can see everything from here. Sit down, fella.
Man, look at that happy crowd.
Yeah. It seems that we are really off to a good start.
Hey, waiter, 2 scotch in. Wait until they see our floor show.
Yeah. Say, they're getting ready to start now.
Come on, honey, I got money, I got schemes, and I got dreams. Now's the time to step and show them down ain't what it seems. I used to be slipping and pitching a boom, used to be moping and knocking old gloom. Shake it up, honey, now break it up quick. We gon' pitch a boogie woogie and turn the trick. Pitch a boogie woogie, sing a boogie woogie, sing a boogie woogie. Pitch a boogie woogie and turn a trick. Thank you, boys, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Evelyn Ward, and I'm sure you know yours. Of course, the term ladies and gentlemen is a mere formality. You know what you are. I'm sure you've seen me because I've been in pictures before. In fact, I've just got through making a short with Lena Horne. I'm going back next week and make the shirt. Now we have a fine show in store for you, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Our first number's one you won't forget, we hope. First, you get a glimpse of the lovely Winstead girls. Then you hear the appealing voice of our handsome young tenor, Joe Little. Singing for you, Take Care of. Last but not least, we give you the lovely Rosa Burrell, setting you on fire with her famous Dance of the Flame. Take it, boys.
sun is hiding behind a cloudy sky. You'll never hear me cry, for I'll be singing, and we'll be together where I can serve you, dear. I'll sing forever, dear. I love you so.
Boy, this is the life.
You said it, brother, and how. Just think, in a few weeks we'll be rolling in dough.
Thank you. Now we have a real treat in store for you. It's a lovely young personality with a lovely voice, telling you a story she can't forget. And it's Miss Esther May Porter singing for you, I Heard You Say, assisted by the Melodies and our stunning models. Miss Porter?
I heard you say you'd make me your friend. I'd never regret our meeting day. I heard you say that heaven sent me, that heaven meant me with you to stay. You told me to dream all the things I'd like with you. Your only scheme was to make them come true. Now comes the day when memory stings. I think of the things I heard you say.
Wasn't that lovely? Our next number is one I'm sure you'll like, as well as the person who sings it. This time it's a lovely ballad, titled And Even More, and sung for your listening pleasure by that hunk of masculine charm, Sylvester Mike, followed by the lovely ladies of the ensemble, the models, and featuring Miss Dorothy Lee. You got it, boys.
Those happy hours and happy days.
A cryptic codex of bizarre imagery and
As they've turned to happy years, for always loving only me. You taught me peace and constancy. I love you with all my heart and even more. For showing love is always true and making all my dreams come true. I love you with all my heart and even more. For thoughtful deep through years of happiness we shared, you kissed away my tears when I was sad. For showing love is always new and making all my dreams come true. I love you with all my heart and even more.
You know, this is all fine, but there's just one thing we forgot. What's that? We didn't tell our wives anything about the show. And suppose they would drop in on us.
Boy, that would be bad, wouldn't it? It's too late now. That's a chance we got to take.
Now you'll hear our versatile little singer, Rosa Burrell, singing the hot dog song, Weenie, Weedy, Winky, which means I came, I saw, you conquered me. followed by the model's young star of eccentric tap dancing, Cleophas Lyons. Then you will see the famous Lindy Hoppers, Count and Harriet. To complete our little package of entertainment, we give you the models themselves in a chorus novelty. Take it, boys.
There she comes.
That who comes?
Your wife.
We'll just stay in here until she leaves. I don't think she saw us, so she won't be long. I hope she'll soon leave because I don't want to miss any of the show. Me neither. Do you reckon my wife is still out there? No, she must be gone by now. But come on, let's chance it. Okay.
I can see by your smiling faces that you enjoyed the show. But all good things must come to an end. So we give you our entire cast, and we call it the grand finale. Take it, boys.
Wake up, wake up. What's the matter?
I don't want no show. I don't want no nightclub.
Man, you ain't had no show. You ain't had no nightclub. You've been dreaming. You got a nightmare.
The original premiere was 100% a success all the way. You had people in all the vicinities around Greenville and in line to see the picture Boogie Woogie.
When the picture came on, everybody was just screaming and stomping and clapping and everything, and everybody enjoyed it. And for days, that's all they talked about.
I was a celebrity. I was a celebrity. Everywhere I went, those who saw it. White and color was talking about because the people knew me a lot in that vicinity.
I was supposed to have had a speaking part in the first idea of the film. When we first started the filming, The idea was to have Tom waking up with me beating him over the head with the rolling pin, saying, you know, get up, you lazy bum, and go to work. But Mr. Warner changed it so that Tom woke up on the piano, inside the theater on the piano stool.
It was fun to me because I was fascinated about the props. We were supposed to have drinks, you know, in the club, and the drink that I had was water with cellophane paper in it, you know, to look like ice. And that's why I never took a sip during the movie. It really wasn't a drink at all.
Well, the rolling pin was made out of cardboard, and he explained to me what he wanted me to do. It didn't look realistic enough because I wasn't hitting hard enough. And he said, hit them harder, harder. So he had to, you know, go over and make more takes. Because he said, it's just cardboard and it's really not hurting them. And they said it wasn't hurting them either, so.
He got kind of mixed up with some of the distributors there in Charlotte, and he cursed out a couple of distributors or something for some reason. So they passed the word around that not to buy anything from John Warner. And that caused him a big problem.
He found out that the problem of distribution and getting it sold so as to produce enough income to support another picture just wasn't there, and he abandoned it.
Well, they had problems here in Greenville, and the black community had boycotted the plaza.
That was sort of tragic for Mr. Warner. It was an incident. I don't think he was responsible for it, but he was a strict disciplinarian. He tried to maintain order and so forth in the theater, and it seems that one of my good friends was there one night and got sort of disorderly or something, and they had a policeman to come in and arrest him.
But the point was, when he was taken down to the precinct, the point the community didn't go for, nor did they like, that Mr. Warner went with them. And when this boy person came, he was all beaten up. And that was the point that the community didn't like.
We would really watch to see who was going, and they were having some very, very good pictures at that time, and we really wanted to go in to see the pictures, but we just wouldn't go. But there were some people who were still going. Some of the ladies would come over to the beauty parlor and say, what's happening? Nobody's going to the movie anymore. And then we would have to tell them then.
That was the demise of the plaza, in my opinion.
1948 also marked the end of Pitch A Boogie Woogie's commercial release. Around 1960, John Warner returned to the block and bought the Roxy Theater, which he managed until his death in 1970.
We got involved in the Roxy in 1975. At the time, there was no arts council in Greenville. So a lot of us who wanted to find some sort of outlet for our talents saw this whole theater as a vehicle. I had friends who did music and people who did artwork and pottery, and we saw it as a place that we could get these activities going and do some programs on our own. I found the film quite by accident. We were cleaning out the old projection booth, and we saw these canisters in the cutting room.
One of the first things that I did after I got the film from Shep was call the university library, the archives, and spoke with Don Lennon.
When Alex came in and talked with us about it initially, he mentioned that it was labeled as Eastman film nitrate. And I suggested that we look at it before he tried to run it on a projector or anything, because of the danger with nitrate film.
Nitrate film was used up to 1951. It can spontaneously combust at about 106 degrees. So very often people who have it in an attic or a basement and just have it sitting there, it'll go. All of a sudden, they'll smell something awful, and it's on fire. And the thing about nitrate film is that it will not go out.
And the only way that we could find out what was actually on the film was to unroll it.
One of us was unreeling, the other one was writing down names, and we got to the title, Pitch A Boogie Woogie, and directed by John Warner, Lord Warner Pictures, and we were going through the list of the stars, and
we got to Beatrice Atkinson, and I told us, well, we have a B. Atkinson working here in the library.
Don Lennon called me, and I was in charge of the mail room at times. And he asked me if I knew anything about a film, Pitch A Boogie Woogie. And I said, no, I don't. Any of the things, the mail, the films, or whatever that comes back here for you, I have already sent them to you.
And then he started reading off the credits again.
And then it hit me. And I was just so, I don't know, I just couldn't believe it.
She knew some of the other people, knew how to get in touch with Herman Forbes, I think, and from there it sort of began this chain of events where one person I would talk to would lead me to another person.
It was also quite by accident that Alex Albright heard of the American Film Institute's program to restore nitrate film.
When we first saw Pitch A Boogie Woogie, the picture was very nice. We were aware of that it did not seem to have bad scratches. It didn't have a lot of the standard problems that we see in older films. The sound was a disaster.
But they said, yeah, we'd love to restore this. Can we do it?
And through modern technology, they were able to clean up the current problems and get it back to the original sound, which is miraculous. I mean, having heard the original and now having heard the cleaned up back to the real original version, it's wonderful.
On February 8, 1986, at East Carolina University in Greenville, Pitch A Boogie Woogie re-premiered before 500 people in its first screening before an integrated audience.
The re-premiere in Greenville was fabulous. I took all of my sisters-in-law and anybody else I could get, and we just went down there, almost had a convoy. To see myself on the screen, I didn't know what to do with myself. I really didn't. It was just a thrill of a lifetime. I was really flabbergasted, as you might say.
We got on stage for the first time after 40 years, and I could tell from tuning out that the guys were really in tune with each other in many ways, and when we started playing, things just fell in place, and it was just like we had played together yesterday.
It made you feel good, took you kind of back, made you kind of feel a little bit younger, you know, to bring those days back, because, you know, there was a lot of age up there on that stage that night, a lot of years.
But we really enjoyed ourselves, and afterwards, the chancellor, the next day, invited us over to his home and had a little tea. And it was a very, very beautiful experience. They gave us a beautiful reunion.
Those who returned to Greenville for the re-premiere represented about 10% of the cast and musicians employed to make the film.
Otto Harris was a genius. Otto was an excellent trumpet player. He also was an excellent bassist and bass player, tuba player. He was brilliant, utterly brilliant.
Taboo Mike was a football player from Steubenville, Ohio. He stayed with me during the summer in order to play with the rhythm vets. He was a nice fella, a singer. In other words, you wouldn't know he was a football player.
My name is Evelyn Ward, and I'm sure you know yours. Of course.
Evelyn Ward, she was a good singer. She was extra good singer. They did a lot of rehearsal, but I wasn't at the rehearsal because I didn't have my partner to dance, but I only did a nightclub scene, sitting at a table when I was young. Compton Harris, well, they came out of New York with me. They used to hang around the Linda House because they wanted to dance, see? And Count was he could play piano, you understand? He used to, a lot of times we didn't have nobody to play for rehearsal. He played the piano for us. That's why we called him Count, because he used to try and play that Count Basie. Almost all the people that was with us from New York. They left and went back to New York. That's why we started getting people from Winsteads and different minstrel shows.
William Earl was all right, but he had been old. He's old. He was old. He had been into silent screen for years. William Earl and several others that came to it was old when they came to the show.
He was 74. He did a flip. He could do a flip and a split and a handstand. At that age, he was doing it. Earl, he used to play in a lot of white shows. They would put him in a lot of white shows. He was good. They put him in a lot of white shows because everybody was blacked up. And they didn't pay enough attention to know that he was black in there, you understand, but he was really black.
I'm really surprised, though, to see that anyone was still wearing blackface, especially black entertainers wearing blackface by 1947.
The blackface for the black person, they came off in 50. They came off from the black face to just make a lip. You don't want to make your mouth up. You want to make your face up. You make your mouth up.
One thing that struck me that may be misunderstood by a contemporary audience is the milking of humor out of what seems like old-fashioned minstrelsy. And I think that's speaking to a black audience in a way that we may find it hard to look back on and understand.
The farmers felt all right about it. It was society and organizations didn't like it. The black in general didn't like it, didn't like blackface. The entertainers didn't pay any attention to it. They said, you got to put on coke. See, that's what you put on, they call it coke. And the comedian one would have it on. See, they used to put that on to hide. You could, if you wanted to do something crazy, people laugh at you because you had that on.
The knowledge of black history and to know the place of this film allows you to see the film for what it is.
And to me, it's not only the dream that the one man has in the film, but also the dream of the movie makers and all the people who took part in the movie. Being up on that magic silver screen, being able to show their talent and have it on film permanently, I think is certainly a redeeming value.
Most of the original cast of Pitch A Boogie Woogie have pursued their respective dreams with considerable success.
When I got in the classroom, many children could not handle what was in the textbook. I had to create something at that level. And then I found out that kept their attention, motivated them, and kept them going. And many times the children caught up before the years were out. And that type of thing, it just made me feel good, you know.
See, if you got love on board, somebody's gonna see it. It's gonna show. I am the pastor of the Cherry Noah Holiness Church, and we have quite a few young people. I am telling them, watch out, know their priorities, get them straight, because they don't know where their destiny is going to lead them.
I came to A&T back in '38 simply because it was not the only black college at the time that had a band, but it was also the one that had the best band as far as local say-so was concerned. I always did like teaching. I like to do things. In music especially, my philosophy has always been I like music and I like people. And I want to do everything I can to bring those two together. And when you bring them together in any musical aspects, I'm doing what I want to do.
Well, since I've been teaching, I've come in contact with some very fine players. And I enjoy working with those students and seeing them progress and being able to do good things on the instrument.
Well, I taught at Palmer, which is out at Sedalia. We had a fine music department, about 5 or 6 music instructors. And it was really a fine, all-around polished school.
I was director of cultural arts for the Greensboro City School System. At my retirement, I was in charge of drama and visual arts and vocal and instrumental music.
I taught industrial arts and I taught band. As for jazz, I played with several bands in the Fayetteville area from the time that I came here to live in 1950.
I went from North Carolina to New York because Illinois Jackets band came through Greensboro. Somebody talked to me and let me sit in with the band. And they were impressed, and he said, boy, you should be in New York, you know. And I said, oh, not me. I was afraid to really go. But I just thought about it, kept thinking about it, and eventually I decided, well, I'll take a chance and go up to New York to see what it's like. And I went up and I never came back.
When I finally saw the film Pitch A Boogie Woogie, the first thing that came to my mind was that, hey, this was a first in North Carolina, and that it was a part of history, an important part of history, and it did depict exactly the kind of entertainment we had 40 years ago. And maybe 50 or 60 years from now, someone may go up to Washington and pull it out and play it, you know, and say, hey, that's the way it was in 1947.